Healing Sect. Origin of the deity of healing. Name, Brigid. Before Brigid became a deity, she was widely known as one of the greatest healers in all the land. She would heal all that came to her, for no cost and no obligation to serve. Less is known about her fighting prowess. Some say that all her powers came from the great hammer she carried. Many times her capture was attempted so that she could be made to work for a dark end. All the attempts failed. As in so many cases, her downfall was from within herself. It has been said that all her life was devoted to healing until she met Shalek. Shalek was a prince from far away who was afflicted with cancer. When he was healed, Brigid instantly fell in love with him. He fell in love with the power that she represented. When Brigid discovered Shalek's treachery, she used all her power and that of the hammer to self-implode. The mistake she made was that she didn't realize the extinction that her healing had had on those around her. As she was leaving the earth, she looked down and saw thousands mourning her death and offering her all their powers if she would return. She was filled with such compassion for them that she returned to them as the healing deity, Brigid. Minor spells. Stunning causes an enemy to become stunned for a certain time. Duration is dice dependent. Weapon heat causes all weapons on the targeted person to heat up. Duration is dice dependent. Air thickens causes air to thicken, creating a barrier to stop weapons, enemies from advancing. Duration is dice dependent. The barrier is 4 feet wide and 6 feet tall. Harmonize. The caster can change their voice to match any voice they have ever heard. Duration is dice dependent. Moonblade. The caster creates a blade out of moonlight to fight with. Duration is dice dependent. The blade causes great damage to undead and also blinds all evil beings that look at it. Dews of Heaven causes a mist to settle on an area, and all in the mist are healed. Duration is dice dependent. Undead in the mist are heavily damaged, if not destroyed. Disorientation causes enemies to become confused and either miss shots, or not hit with melee attacks for some time. Duration is dice dependent. Blinding weapons causes all the target's weapons to become exceedingly shiny and reflect all light in the area. Does not affect the target. Duration is dice dependent. Mid-level spells. Ischemia. The limb of choice goes numb and can't be used. Duration is dice dependent. Magical binding causes magical ropes to tie up an individual of the caster's choosing for a certain time period. Duration is dice dependent. Holy tune. The caster sings a song that causes all evil, especially the undead, who hear it to become stunned for 3 rounds. Healing steel. The caster steals any healing energy that is being used at that moment to either heal themselves or recharge their mana by 2 spell slots every steal for minor healing spells. 4 spell slots per turn for mid-level spells, and 6 spell slots per turn for major healing spells. Duration is dice dependent. Contraction. The target is shrunk to half its size. Duration is dice dependent. Growth factors. The target grows up to 12 feet tall. The height is controlled by the caster. Duration is dice dependent. Rebuke. The caster causes the target to not want to battle with him, her anymore. Duration is dice dependent. Confusion causes the target to not know who or where she is. Duration is dice dependent. Reverse. The caster causes the attack to turn back on the attacker. Duration is dice dependent. Power toss. Caster throws the target 30 to 60 feet. Unless the target hits something first. Lionheart causes the target to only want to help the companions out. Duration is dice dependent. Weapons bless. The target is now blessed by the deity to have the power of an enchanted weapon. If a bow, all arrows fired from the bow are as a magic missile and explode on impact. Terror. The caster causes the target to become terrified of an unknown being. Duration is dice dependent. Super healing powers. Clerics can heal for an extended period of time without losing magical energies or having it cost them mana. Duration is dice dependent. Phase. Caster has the ability to move from one patch of light to another. The caster must see both starting and end points. Multicolored shield. The caster creates a shield of 4 colors. Red blocks fire, white blocks ice, gray blocks range attacks, and orange blocks magical spells. The shield can take 4 hits for each color before no longer stopping that substance. Evil eye. The caster glares at the target, causing them to freeze in place. In this state, the target cannot move nor do any magic for 2 turns. Duration is dice dependent. Major spells. Enzymatic reaction. The target's body speeds up so fast that it grows old and collapses in 2 turns that are not healed. Divine blight. Caster brings forth an area blessed by their deity that causes massive damage to undead in that area. If the caster is in the area she quickly heals from any wounds. Duration is dice dependent. Dreamwalker. The caster can leave her physical body and move around as a spectre. This spectre can pass through solid objects and is only detected by magical means. Duration is dice dependent. Reverse healing. Caster causes the target to become violently sick, and if not immediately treated, the target goes unconscious. Dermis. The target's skin gets massive 3rd-degree burns and the target cannot move. Fibrin. The target's blood clots, causing them to cough uncontrollably until they are healed or pass out. Macrophage. The body's own cells eat it itself from the inside out. Duration is dice dependent. Multiplication. An image of the caster, companion comes forth to confuse the attacker for a certain time. Duration is dice dependent. The image has no attack ability, and the caster takes no damage if the image is hit. Invisibility. Caster vanishes from the sight for a certain time. Duration is dice dependent. While invisibly, the caster cannot be detected by magic or non-magic means. If the caster attacks or does magic, then the spell is broken. Power of the deity. While activated, the target becomes supercharged with healing powers. Everyone they look at instantly is healed of any wounds, no matter how severe. They also receive a massive bonus against any undead and will melt them, no matter how powerful they are, if they lay their hands on them. Duration is dice dependent.